Hello, this is a second part of my video outlining the actions of West Midlands Police. I've previously shown you all the paperwork involved, letters and emails to the police and IPCC, who now state it's not on their system. So the crime reference number is 20/0771805B/14, and the IPCC's, which is disbanded now, it's called something else. The cat's on me, so if you hear my meow, it's the cat. The IPCC case number is 2015/051040. And as you can gather, that they received the report in 2015. Okay. Now, before we left off, I'm going to go into the video. Remember the video and the recording I made with PC Dunn and PC James? And I explained that I've seen PC Dunn previously 2 or 3 times before then. I've explained that over the years, when I first saw her about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, she hasn't changed, her weight hasn't changed, she still looks the same, the haircut's still the same length, unlike Jamie Hobday, Chief Inspector Jamie Hobday, who's another gang stalker, who has changed. Like I said, when I first saw him in 2014, he looked like a drunk, red face, pot belly. Now it's all slimmed down, pubescent body, I would call it. Strange look for an adult. Anyway, on that recording, you hear PC Dunn stating, or why it on our system there. When I say this is an ongoing issue with Patrick, it's not a one-off incident, blah blah. And you state of the video, why is it on system then? And you also hear a state at the very end, this doesn't look good for you. Oh God, I wonder what she means by that, folks, eh? Targeters out there. I wonder what she means by that. And you hear me state, if she's not a corrupt police officer, she would say, if it's an ongoing, what is it ongoing with? What's this? Why did you act the way you did? But she never, not heard from them yet. I suppose I will soon. Something will trump up. And I also stated in that video that I had given recordings to Desmond Jeddeo, who is a local activist in the West Midlands area, a race activist, a pastor. One of the recordings I gave him, I stated to you as well, I stated that, oh God, I'm sorry, I stated that I gave him recording where they were trying to break into my flat. How they tried to break into my flat is by using a key that was given to them around summer of 2014, August, July time of 2014. Strangely, that's when David Jamieson headed the Police Crime Commissioner Unit of West Midlands. Strange that. And if you check my Twitter feeds, you will see where I even include a post stating about they've got a key, and that in Dudley Council, and it's saying they're going to change the locks, etc. Another thing in that video, which you will learn if you listen to it, is that I'm meditating. So I've got my headphones on, lying on bed, and you can hear Sylvia. I'm going to show you a picture of these. I'm going to let these creatures get away, do we? Here we go. There we go. That's my stalkers for the last 6 years, since we moved out a few months ago. Yeah, there they are. And wonderful. Closer. Now, she's an active participant. I don't want people to think because she's female that she's been led on. She's just as predatory as he is. Paul Burgess, convicted rapist. Okay. You can hear them saying, her saying, on the recording that I gave Desmond Jeddeo, the recordings that I want to give to as many organisations, as many people that deal with race, hate crime and sex offenders as possible, and targeting organisations. She's meditating, going out, you know, try to get in, push. She can't hear anything. She's not moving. She's meditating. Try again. He's trying to knock my key because I knew that, because I was aware that I had a key to my address since 2014. I kept a key in the door. So when I was in, I keep a key in the door, so they can't get in, basically, for that very reason. You can hear that in the recording that I gave DESMOND JEDDEO. Recording I gave him also of them saying the police's involvement in this. The police are going to tell him everything that she does. Also gave him a recording of the meeting I had with the housing manager, audio of that, which they've got no record of me ever making a complaint, and it's awful. Not got back to me at all. And I'm going to go into that. What I'm going to say now is going to link in, but I won't mention it on here, how it links in yet, until I've spoken to someone with more expertise and more information on the subject that I have. Now, on the 22nd of the 11th, 17, I've got a recording where those two, and his daughter and his grandson, are in their flat and they're coming out, and the words, I'm going to say what they're saying now, quote them. They say the nigger's blocking them. Make as much noise as you can. The nigger's blocking. Nigger thinks she's clever. On the same recording, a few minutes later, police said it won't go to court. Now, I know what they mean by blocking. And then there's part of me that I'm aware that I'm doing it. I'm conscious that I'm doing it. And there's part of me that I don't know how I'm doing it. And I would like to speak to somebody who has more information on that. Like I say, I'll leave on to DESMOND JEDDEO. I'm going to go into that in more detail at another time until I speak to somebody about it. But yes, the police have to make noise. So I've got 2 years of recordings of the stalking and of the police. They have to constantly make noise to get to me. I'm not chipped, I don't think. Yeah, they have to make noise. So we've got, and it's not just itty bitty recordings there for a few days. It's hours and hours of a day, 24 hours to make noise. They have to. Part of my targeting, part of West Midlands Police's targeting towards me is I have to make noise. Okay, I gave you the locations of the flat and sort of scoped it out for you about where I live, position of my flat, position of their flat, position of Kevin, the undercover police officer, number 29. I've also got a recording of him. There's me, number 33. They've left now. Brian Applett, number 32, was actually involved from the very beginning in my stalking, very actively involved. And like I say, the recording, I'll give you more detail in the recording that I have got a key to my address. And I'm prepared to give the recordings that I've got where they even say, there's another recording where they've got, and it proves they've got cameras in my flat. All right. Where I'm on the computer, he's standing outside. Like I say, the stalking never stopped, and this is from last year. Well, he's standing outside my flat. Patrick comes out, I said something to him, and he says, "Oh, she's looking at the computer. She's looking." So he'd watch me as I'm in the flat, and as he's standing out the flat, she's watching, he's watching, everybody's watching what I'm doing. Sounds a bit paranoid, doesn't it? But I've got a recording of that. Patrick says, "Is there nothing that can do?" And it's like, nah. Another time, that's it. Another time where I'm listening to the recordings, back in the recordings I've made, and Patrick's saying to him, "Is there nothing that they can do?" And he says, "No." So I've got evidence of my targeting being facilitated by West Midlands Police. Okay, and I gave DESMOND JEDDEO the recording of that. And I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to add that he's a minister and he works at a radio station. So if anyone would have the equipment to hear the recordings, he would. Okay. The recordings that I've given to him, I'm going to give the same recordings and others recordings to as many organisations that deal with stalking, that deal with hate crime as possible, and that deal with targeting, especially the one dated on the 22nd of the 11th, 17, where the state, the niggers blocking them. I think that'd be interesting to targeted communities and targeted agencies. Not the ones that have contacted it in the UK. I think one of them is fear-based and don't actually do anything. And another one is based on, in fact, they're not targeted survivors. They're not working with targeted victims. I believe they're not targeted at all. I'm not going to tell you what I think they are. But they're not targeted individuals who happen to sort of get together and form this little group. No, they're not. Right, there's 18 police officers that have dealt with my complaint. Like I stated, you've seen the paperwork, so I'm just going to give you a brief outline from the beginning about how I know police are involved, and what they look like, where they live, give as much information as possible. So when I first reported it to the police, police came, two police officers came. I told them that I was racially abused by Brian at number 32, who called me a nigger bitch, that the black bitch is going to die from the convicted rapist, that about the stalking, that's never stopped, and that when it started, at the very beginning, when I first moved into the flat, I was really ill. I didn't know what was up, and I thought it was just due to tiredness and the aches and pains due to moving into the flat. Went on for months and months. I moved in January. I think I saw the doctors, I think around summer that year. I kept going to the doctors and I was saying, I'm just exhausted, and I thought it was because I had a minor operation. I thought it was that. And I was really tired, and I found out that I have PBC, which is an autoimmune illness, long-term health condition, where the main features are fitness. I can't think of it. Chronic fatigue, that's the word. Yay! Chronic fatigue, sorry, and aches all over. Your body just feels like it's been run over by a truck. And when I said to the police officer, it started after I moved in, I didn't say anything because I thought they'd stop, and I just couldn't be bothered. To be frank with you, I thought they'd stop, couldn't be bothered. I never reported it. And he was going to me, well, you can't report it, as you can't come in and say it's hate crime. It's up to the chief inspector to do that. So that's it. Oh, are you sure, love? Are you sure? He said the nigger bitch is going to die, and are you sure, love? It's that's an odd thing to say when he called you. Sorry, the black bitch is going to die, and the nigger bitch by Brian. Are you sure he said that? When I told him about Matthew Cartwright being involved in my targeting, in my stalking by these predatory offenders. Why would he risk his career, love? You know what I mean? Why would you do that? Maybe it's because you're ill, love. You know what I mean? You're being a bit oversensitive. Anyway, I went back to the council, went back to our social behavioural team, who advised me to contact the police and tell them about it. Excuse me. And Razor said to me, Razor said to me, we can't do anything. You have to report it to the police, and then we could act. When I got back to Razor, I said, "This is the police. That's what the police said. I couldn't report it as a hate crime. I can't report the stalking." Well, they left the stalking out. Anyway, rolling forward, I had an appointment with two community police officers, PC Helen Smith, and I forgot the police officer's name. Told them the whole story. They suggested to have a mentoring session with all the neighbours involved. Okay, even though I reported long-term stalking, racist death threats, but to sit down in the community hub and have a mentoring session with a nice cup of tea slice of cake. I refused that. I sent an email. I think I have shown the email before, and I stated in the email that I wanted to make a statement that his behaviour was very odd. You know, he would have had offences in the past. The reason I know this, I used to be a rape crisis counsellor. I've also been a mental health nurse. That's going to come into it when I describe the perpetrators and the police officers involved in this and their behaviour. Okay. They would have been aware of everything about him. I refused to attend the meeting. They refused to take a statement from me. I'm sort of speeding this up here. Refused to take a statement from me. They closed the case, apparently, after speaking to all the neighbours involved, who stated the meeting was about me, basically. She made that very clear, that they spoke how I'm quiet, that I say hi when I walk past them, you know, in the landing, which door I leave. There's 2 doors to get in and out, back and front, which door I use, etc., etc. Okay, I didn't know at the time that Kevin at number 29 Love Lane in Lye is an undercover police officer. Didn't know that at the time. Okay. Going to go on to when I first knew about the undercover police officer, was involved with Sylvia. Now, when I first moved in, the first few months, I saw an undercover police officer outside Sylvia's door talking to Sylvia in the morning. As I was leaving, they shut up and they were standing very close to each other. The way they interacted, I thought she was a grass, to be honest with you folks. I really did. They had a relationship that was very clear just by the body language. So I just sort of like, they just sort of dead looked me, you know, and sort of like I went about business. The second time I saw that same police officer, he was in a rubber, he was in a rubber cape thing and a cap. He couldn't walk the street wearing it, okay? And I knew then that it was a sexual thing, okay? I don't know if they're using it as a fucking post, so from my language, but that's the only way I can put it, okay? And then the third time I saw him, this same police officer, who lives in the flat. I don't know if he lives there now, probably not. Where's he drawing it? Undercover police officer, yay, there. I don't know if you can see his name, I don't know, you can't see it, there. Anyway, in uniform, but the uniform that he was wearing had no number on it. It looked like a police uniform, but not a police uniform. That's the best way I can describe it. And he was coming out of flat, and I think I was going in or out, and he smiled at me, and his smile repulsed me. Okay, this is why I'm gonna break this down into different sections. I'm gonna do another part to this actually. I'm used to dealing with people that suffer from serious psychosis. I'm used to dealing with people that are depressed. I'm used to dealing with people that have just gone, you know, they've got dementia and that they have lucid moments and they have moments where they're not here. I'm used to that. I'm used to the look. Okay. This police officer, you know the saying, the lights are on but nobody's home. The lights ain't fucking on, mate. There's nothing. And he smiled at me, and you know, and it wasn't until he smiled that it made me want to recoil back. It's whatever these perps are. Fucking hell, man. I don't know how to put it, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there whatsoever. Like I say, I'm used to dealing with people that there's nothing there because they're depressed or because of psychosis or some mental health issue. There's nothing there. And when he smiles, it's an odd smile. And I've noticed that a few times with a few police officers, that when they do smile, and especially the one that I did post the video up and the audio has been altered. But there's a video where I post about it's audio, and it was looking for Stephen Criswell. On the true recording, I open the door and this chappie says, in police uniform, but with no numbers, no nothing. Looking for Stephen Criswell, you know, does he live here? Blah, 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 blah. And then after he finishes, it says, by there, and he smiles, and it's the same look and the same repulsion as the geezer, undercover police officer who lives there. Okay, and I've noticed that with quite a few of the undercover police officers, there's something about them that makes you recoil when they're trying to be human. But that's the best way I can put it. When they're all official, you know, when he never smiled at me when I walked, you know, sort of like when I caught him talking to Sylvia, the other guy when he said it was the Stephen Criswell, which is his name, by the way, on the true recording I've got. As he's leaving, they say something like, they said that she wouldn't open the door, and his colleague says to him something. He says, "Well, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say." So that's his name. He wasn't looking for Stephen Criswell because I caught him off guard and answered the door without first, you know, checking the buzzer downstairs. I caught him off guard, so he said his real name. So Stephen Criswell is another dodgy one. Anyway, so yeah, the police officers involved. And I knew he was an undercover police officer. And this chap that lived there, the one with the weird smile and the cape, bloody hell, there was instances throughout that time where he tried to pretend to be a drug dealer. He's not a drug dealer. They would make as much noise as possible, like having an argument with a customer, to, you know, and different occasions apart. And I was thinking, no, you're not. Anyway, so after we made the report to the police went away. The police decided to do jack shit. The second person that I was aware that was an undercover police officer is a postman called Nigel, who used to do the rounds in this area. Chunky guy, about 6 foot. Oh, one who lives there, the one that can't smile, there's nothing there. Rubber gear. He's about 6'6", dark brown hair, straight dark brown hair, dark brown eyes. He won't colour in the sun. I've not seen him in the sun, but he's sort of skin that wouldn't colour. He wouldn't tan. He's white, by the way. He wouldn't tan. I say 6'6". He's really tall, really tall. And I've seen him with a woman who's really short. So you have to notice them. Weird. Anyway, yeah, postman Nigel. I have a recording of Nigel saying to the rapist who's standing outside my door, right, you know, greeting him, you're right. And the rapist states she's laughing. And Nigel must have looked at him funny and said, I don't know, might have looked at him, he says, well, I can see her laughing. And Nigel says, on can you hear it in the audio recording, well, she won't be laughing for long. No, they sort her out, she won't be laughing for long. And I have a recording of that. Okay, so that's when I knew before then, because do you know when they give you the sort of like, I think the gangsters, don't they? These perps and sort of swagger. First he was really friendly to me, now he's swagger. Like he's a gangster. Fucking hell, you're protecting a nonce, you're not a gangster. Anyway, so that's when I knew. I didn't know he was involved in my targeting. I didn't know I was being targeted, actually. So the first person officially I knew was Nigel the postman. Chunky guy, bleached blonde hair, different colour of eyes. You could have contact lenses in, tattooed thighs. And I thought, fucking, at the time, I really sort of thought, because it seemed like quite a nice guy, and I thought, you know, he's Indian soft, basically, isn't he? As a stalker, he was there. So while he was stood outside my door, knows there's a camera in my flat. They put cameras in my flat. And it's part of it, okay? so somebody to investigate, check him out. So as the time went on, the stalking increased actually. It literally was the sort of every day. You could time it to a T. I all along didn't know where to go. I contacted many organisations via email. Emails wouldn't be sent through. Literally, I couldn't send an email. Even now that happens, somebody sent me an email on YouTube. I didn't get it till days later. And then I got two at once, one on the correct day and one sort of like 3 days later that it was sent. It's supposed to have marked as being sent. So that's still happening. Phone calls, if I'd phone somebody that could help me, genuinely help me, and it still goes on, the phone would drop, the call would drop. And I've even got a recording of Sylvia saying, oh, she's phoned another nigger. I think I've said that before, and that she's referring to, what's his name? Maxa Hills, and she says that. And I've also got another recording of her where she's saying that she's going to say they've not recorded anything. This is when I rang up different organisations to sort of state what's been going off and what I can do, and that the council and the police had not recorded anything. Okay, so that means my phone, my emails, my computer have been hacked. Well, I knew that anyway. But because of the gobby cow she is, I've got evidence of it. It's not just me saying it. I've got an audio recording of her saying it. Who's they? I'm assuming it's the police because she always mentions the police. But this time it's like she's going to say they've not recorded anything. They've said that she's going to say. So how does she know that? Because even if she's with the cameras in the flat, as there still is, she wouldn't know who her contact is. There's the sound. She's got to have sound and cameras. And if you listen to the video where she says that, she's going to say not recording. You know, we're going out of her flat. 10 minutes later, coming back into the flat and telling Brian at number 32 that. So wherever she goes to, and I think it's the block next to there, where the undercover police are, told her that. Okay, I'm going to keep this under 30 minutes. So I am going to keep it under 30 minutes. What I'm going to do, the next part of the video, I'm going to explain more about the different police officers involved. Like I say, look at number 29, undercover police officer named Kevin, Nigel the postman, got recordings of them. The undercover police officer is a fucking weirdo with his rubber thing on. And I'll tell you why I use the word fucking post later, or the next video, and hopefully it'll be long and I can give you a rough sketch of the police's involvement in this. And the fact there's 18 police officers being involved, but it's officially been involved. We're not talking about undercover police. 18 police officers that's been involved. Oh, my thing flashed down. I want to take a picture of me. I want to take a picture. It's a bit rough today. It's a bank holiday. Anyway, 18 police officers being involved, but it's not on the system. Not on the system one little bit. But before I go, I want to say a big thank you to Seven at Soul Solutions. There are things that you can do. And like when I first started this video, I stated that the organisations that I don't want to contact me regarding the recording I've got where they state that she's blocking them, the nigger's blocking them. There are things that you can do. Even I've just become aware of the targeted community as a group. I didn't know it existed, even though I knew in myself that I wasn't the only one. West Midlands Police were doing this too. David Jamieson was doing this too. But I knew that this was a big thing. I knew it wasn't just me. Okay, and as I've only just found out about the targeted community sort of quite late. Regarding my targeting, it was February of this year, so we're in August now, so it's not very long. And even I know when I've contacted the targeted community and targeted help organisations, One seems to, I've contacted two, it isn't me like I've contacted loads, I've contacted two. One seems to all they want is your information and say you can't do anything for you. The other one, who state that the victims themselves, that's not the case. That's all, leave it at that. And also say there's nothing that you can do. That's a lie. There are things that you could do. You can start keeping records for one thing. Even though it's in the community, in the targeting community, it's called targeting, it's stalking. No matter who's doing it, it's stalking. And there's things that you can do. There's, you know, if the police won't investigate, or like in my case, I've been stalked by the police, like I've done, I record the fuckers. Sorry for my language. I've got 2 years of audio recording of not only of the creatures that they're covering up for, but of police officers. Okay? I've got paperwork where they're supposed to investigate my complaint. This is the IPCC, supposed to investigate my complaint of the West Midlands Police not investigating my complaint, where they've said they've investigated and they've not investigated. See how twisted this is? That's how it is. So West Midlands never investigated it. The IPC have never investigated, even though the state they have. It's not on their system. He and they are predatory sex offenders. One afternoon, I heard them arguing about, why, you know, you're the one that picked her. Well, I didn't know who to pick. They targeted me for a reason. They wanted a woman, any woman. Okay? I want to make that very clear to you. And that's why I sort of, in the very beginning, stated what I used to do. These are predatory sex offenders. Now, I ain't going to let this drop, obviously, because I'm doing this. I've since found out that, because the stalking guidelines and the sentencing is quite weak in the UK. And from October of this year, all the sentences have doubled regarding stalking. And there's different types of stalking. So I don't want, there's predatory like them fucking creatures. And there's other types of stalking like feels persecuted and desires retribution. There's one of them. There's another one, is the intent to frighten or distress, where somebody gets a kick out of head fucking you, basically. Specific or general grievance. This would count with the two perps at number 32 and number 31. And the police officers involved in that. Jamie Hobday and PC Dawn. I can point my finger and say, yes, they again stalked me. They stalkers. That's what I think anyway. Right. When I nearly lost track of thought then. Moment of rage. I watched a video by Soul Solutions, and it was by Seven, where she talks about Ministry of Justice, the civil procedures rules, where you can bring a case of civil procedures against officialdom people or anybody, basically, but you must have evidence for it. So like in my case, I've got the audio recordings, the copies of emails, letters, etc. And she's done it. Because she's been targeted for years. I mean, oh, God bless her, for years. She's had to do this herself. She's had to learn as she's gone on how to do this. And she's done a brilliant video explaining about the forms you need to fill in, what you need to put where, etc, etc, etc. So please do check out a video. And like I say, the stalking sentences have doubled, and it comes into effect in October 2018. And it's the Sentencing Council. So if you look in their definition and the guidelines, and that includes all kinds of stalking. People think stalking is a sexual offence. It's not. You know, if somebody takes a dislike to you and decide to frighten you or cause distress, or just generally just be a nasty bastard, That's stalking. You know, it doesn't have to be a sexual offence. I believe, and that's why another thing I think they've not, and when I say they, I mean West Midlands Police, the David Jamieson and the council have not investigated, have stopped this, or tried to stop it from going any further. It's because he's got a conviction for rape. Full stop. There's no blunter way I can say this. It's because he's got a conviction for rape, and a history of violence towards women. Okay, no normal organisation would collude with them, but they have, and I've got evidence. Do you know what's the funny thing is? The very people that they're defending, the very people they've set their job against, the very people and their reputation that they've worked years to get to a post, is the very people, because of the audio recordings they've got, that's going to bring them down. So yeah, we couldn't keep the mouth shut. I'm going to log off here, and then what I'm going to do in the next video is go more into the psychological aspects of the perpetrators, as they call them, and the police officers involved. Like I say, one police officer, you wouldn't, 3 police officers I've noticed that look where there's nothing there, the lights are not there, whatever they're rocking, it's only helping them. Yeah, and this is when they're trying to be normal, when they're trying to be human, as I think of it. So I'm going to give you, after I've recorded this, I'm going to name all the police officers involved and the description. I'm going to put a star against the ones that I've had personal contact with. And when I come back again to do a part 3, I go into some more the personalities, all the perps, how they try to set me up with some fucking drag. Oh God, I'm working class, so I'm not nothing against people that are working class. I'm very proud of working class, but there's working class and there's working class, and there's people that you see on documentaries about, you know, people on benefits and scroungers and, you know, these people, and you just think, oh God, that's not a reflection of the working class. I will give you a description, in fact I might post a video of the week, of one of the dregs that Kenneth, which if you go back in the video is a black guy, he's an undercover police officer, supposedly mentally ill. It's a skip, he's not mentally ill, tried to set me up with. Oh, it's awful. Do you know when you're so insulted, you think, oh, for fuck's sake, you talk to me and now this, you cheeky bastards. Anyway, I'm going to get off now. Hopefully I will post the second part to this, or the third part to this, just regarding the characteristics of the perpetrators and of the police officers involved. And shout out to Seven, a big thank you to Seven. And like I say, I've got recordings. I'm not going to make a record of me saying, no, I've got recordings of this and that, if I don't have recordings of this and that, and I've got recordings of this and that. And like I say, when they say the niggers blocking them, I know what they mean, but I'm not going to go into it now until I've spoken to somebody that's more experienced in that. I think how I believe that is the Schumann, is it Schumann residence? Schumann residence. That everybody has a magnetic field around them. I don't know, but I'd love to hear advice from anybody investigators, like I say, that are investigating targeting, that concentrate on targeting. First to give them that recording, and sort of like to help me find out what exactly I'm doing, or to give them information of what exactly I do. Okay, folks, have a nice day. Bye.